Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. You're a atheist,
Yeah.
and when did you decide to be an atheist?
I don't know if I necessarily decided it just one day. I have yet to be convinced that any gods exist.
You have yet to be convinced. Okay. Have you ever asked yourself the question, like, how are we here?
Yeah, I think what science says how we're here is the best explanation. I agree. I accept that explanation rather than some magical guy.
And what does science say for how we're here?
We evolved
No. How we're here, like, evolved from where?
from, I guess, essentially would be like the universal microorgasm or the singularity.
Microorgasm?
Microorganism.
Oh, so, like, where? That's what I'm asking you.
Did I say microorgasm? I did say
Yes, you
microorgasm.
did.
Yeah, I was stuck in my. I've been saying that a lot lately on my troll account, so it just came out when I said that by accident.
So, but that's the question I'm asking is where does this stuff come from? So
I don't know if I have. I don't know if
Where does the
science.
stuff come from?
I don't know if science has a definitive answer that
Right.
that we come from anywhere, that we have a
Right.
start or a creation.
Right.
So I guess
Do
I
you
would
believe-
I would just be agnostic on that, I guess.
That's convenient. What?
Well,
Where,
don't act like you know, because you don't know.
Oh, I know, and I think you know as well.
No, you don't know. You believe that you come from God, but you don't know it.
Do you believe that nothing can create anything?
No, that's what you believe.
No, I don't. I believe God created.
Oh, where did God come from?
Who knows?
He came from nothing, right? He just always existed?
No.
No, you don't know if God always existed?
Who knows? That's like saying, well, do you know who your great?
Well, you just said you know. You just said that you know that we all
Listen,
come from God.
Listen, I'll explain it to you. I know that we come from God.
No, you don't know that. You believe it.
Hold on, let me get to the period first, brother. I know that we come from God, but down the chain,
You don't
where
know
all
that.
this- Dude, you gotta let me get to the period, bro.
Well,
I know it's
I'm just going
hard.
to correct you when you're wrong. You don't know that you come
then
from
how
God.
about you correct me when I get to the period?
You believe you come from
Do
God,
you
but you
agree
don't
with
know
that?
it. Can you explain to me how you know you come from a
Hold on,
Christian God?
before you get triggered, can we agree with that? You just let me get to the period, and then you can disagree.
Maybe. I might be able to
Maybe
agree with
you're
you on
not.
that.
You don't know if you're capable of that.
Can you explain to me how you know that you
Here,
come from...
I'll tell you. Do you know who your great 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 grandfather is?
No.
Oh, then you don't exist.
What? How does that follow?
That's the logic you're using.
How does it follow that I don't personally know
That's
my
the
great...
logic you're using is, well, I don't know who my great great grandfather is. Well, you don't know who God's
How does that
father
follow?
is.
Explain to me
You
how
don't
that
know who God's
follows.
father is. Therefore, it can't be true. Therefore, it doesn't exist.
So
That's
explain
not
to
logic,
me...
brother.
Explain to me how it follows that because I don't personally know who my great 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 grandfather is, that I don't
Right.
exist.
That's the same thing as you saying, well, who's God's father?
No, explain to me how that follows. That because I don't personally know.
Listen, it's the same logic as you saying, well, who's God's father?
I never asked you who's God's father was.
You said, where does God come from?
Yeah, because you said that I believe that
Right.
something comes. You said that I
If
believe
you
that.
if you can't explain where you come from, if you can't explain your great great grandfather, then that's the same exact logic.
You said that I believe that something comes from nothing, and I said no, that's what you believe, and you said no. So I asked you, where does God come from?
No, I said the everything comes from God. Down
but
the
where did
chain,
God
who
come
is
from,
God's
though?
father is the same as me saying, who's your great great grandfather?
But you're a theist, and your position, whether you want to admit it or not, is that you believe that something came from nothing. You believe that
No,
everything
I believe
came.
that everything came from something, and that something is called God.
Yeah, but that you're telling me that God has just always existed. Actually, you said you didn't know that. You said you don't know if God has always existed.
Yeah, down the chain, who knows? That's the whole point.
Well, that's what I'm
why I
saying.
bring
You
up
don't
the
know.
Example of you saying,
Again,
I
you
don't know, who
don't
my
know that you come from
great-grandfather
God.
is, as a
Again-
proof to say, if you don't know who your great great grandfather is, that doesn't mean that you don't exist.
So you don't know that you come from God. You just admitted it. We
I
don't
do know that we come from
no,
God.
You just said we don't know. You just said we don't
No,
know.
I didn't say that. I said
You
we
did.
do know. We do know we come from God. Down
Okay.
the chain, we
Okay.
don't know.
Explain
That's
to
the
me.
part we don't know, is down the chain. We know
When you
we come from God. Let that sink in. We know we come from God. We know that God created the universe and God created everything. But down the chain of who's his father and where does he come from and where does he come from, we don't know that. But yet we don't have to.
when
We
you
don't
say
have to know
God,
that to know
when
that life can only come from life.
excuse me, when you say God, do you mean the Christian God?
I do, yes.
Okay, explain to me how you know that you come from the Christian God.
Because of the evidence and the results of believing in Christianity.
So what you're saying is you know that you come from the Christian God because you believe it. You don't know it.
I know I come from the Christian God because I've tested the tenets of the Christian God
How?
by testing the dogmas of Christianity.
Can you elaborate?
You know, like, have you ever, when you want to know if something is true, what do?
Can you elaborate, sir?
You
How you
test it, you
know?
practice it to see if
Can
the
you?
results come out the way you want them to come out.
Okay, explain it.
That's, I just did.
No, explain to me
I
how
just
you know.
explained it.
Okay, but elaborate on what you're saying that you attested it. Elaborate.
Give me a tenet of Christianity.
Sir, don't ask me questions. Tell me
I
how
know.
you
I'm
know.
letting you. I'm letting you figure this out.
No, I
Give
want
me
you to
name
no, I
name the
want you
tenet
to
of
tell me.
Christianity. Name
I
any
want you
tenet.
I want you to tell me how you
How about a
know.
tenet of thou shalt not steal?
Hey, I want you to tell
Tenet?
me how you
I
know that you
am.
come
You're
from the
not
Christian
listening,
God.
bro. How
Okay,
about a
tell
tenet
me.
of thou shalt not steal? That's a Christian tenet, right?
Okay, how does that prove God?
Dude. Okay. We were talking about. You remember the chain of how we were getting to here? You asked me, how do you know the Christian God is true? Right? And I said I practiced the tenets and the results of practicing the tenets.
Can you
Then you said,
elaborate on
okay, like
practicing the
what?
tenets? Can
Then
you
you said, like
elaborate?
what? And then I said, practicing thou shalt not steal. Are you
So
following
because
along
a
now?
book, so because so
Are you
because a
following
book.
along still?
Thank you for the gift. Because a
Are you
book
following
says
along
that.
so far?
Because a
So I
book says
practice the
that.
tenets of Christianity and the
Hold on,
results
sir.
that come
Can I
about from
respond?
doing it,
Can I
right?
respond? Can I
I
respond?
haven't even gotten to the end yet, bro. The
Can I
results
respond?
that come about from doing it let me know that it's the right way to
Let me
follow.
know when you're done
Because
preaching,
I
and I'll respond.
practice the things that Christianity tells me I should do. And when I practice those things, the results come out good for me. That's how I know the Christian God is the right God to follow. When I look at the Muslim
Okay, can I
God, what
respond,
do
please?
I
Now,
see? I see inbreeding. I see poverty. I
all
see
right.
criminality.
I really hate to do this, but I'm going to try to
Oh, wait,
respond
I
now.
thought
Okay,
you
Greg.
wanted me to talk.
Can I
I thought you
respond,
wanted to
Greg?
wait till I was done.
Listen, if you're not going to let me respond, I'm just going to move on to the next guest.
Go ahead, respond.
Okay. I asked you, how do you know that the Christian God is true, or how do you know that you come from the Christian God? And you said, because the Bible says don't lie.
I never even said the word Bible.
Okay, how do you know? Well, then where'd you get that from?
I
Don't lie.
never even said that. You're not listening at
Okay,
all,
when
bro.
you said
You're
God says
not
don't
listening
lie,
at all, brother.
where did you
I
get that
never even
from?
said the word Bible once.
Where did you get that from?
I get this from God.
Yeah, oh, so God told you audibly, do not lie.
God told me audibly. No, God says in theology, which I don't even
Where?
need a book.
Where?
I don't even need a book. So I don't even have to read it from a book.
Where
God
does God
says
say
in
don't
Christian
lie?
theology that you should not steal. So I
Where does God
practice
say don't
that.
steal? Where does God say don't steal?
It's in
Where?
it's in the Ten Commandments.
Oh, the Bible.
Yeah, I don't need to read the
Okay.
Bible to know
I
that
asked
that's one
you
of
how
God's
you
Ten
know.
Commandments.
I
I'm
asked
sure there's
you.
many people in here that have not read the Bible that know thou shalt not steal as a commandment.
Okay, I asked you how you know the Christian God is true, and you
Do you
said
believe
because,
that? Do you believe there's people in here that have not read the Bible that
of
know
course,
that thou shalt not steal is a commandment?
Most Christians. Okay,
Right. Did they
now
have to read
listen,
the Bible to know that?
sir. I
No,
asked.
they know that.
Let's have a back and forth. Okay, let's have a back and forth.
Right. So stop lying and saying, well, you have to have read the Bible because there's millions of people here that have never read the Bible that know thou shalt not steal.
Okay, listen. I
Right
asked
or
you how do
wrong?
you. Sure, whatever. I asked you how you
Sure,
know the Christian
whatever.
God is true, and you said because the Ten Commandments say don't lie. How does that follow? Because the Ten Commandments say don't lie. How does that follow that the Christian God is true?
Because that's a derivative of the Christian God.
Explain to me how when the Ten Commandments say "Thou shalt not lie," how does that prove that the Christian God is true?
How does that prove the Christian God is true? Because if you follow that tenet and the rest of the tenets, your life will be better.
That's not proof, sir. That's a testimony.
That's not proof.
No, that's a testimony.
No, that's a reality. You're saying for people that don't follow the Ten Commandments have better
This is the best argument
lives.
you have. This is the best argument you have.
Oh, I have better arguments, but I don't think you can handle those.
Give me the best argument you have.
Mathematics, physics, and morality.
How does mathematics prove the Christian God?
Kurt Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
What?
Kurt Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
How does mathematics prove the Christian God?
I just said Kurt Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
Okay, elaborate. Explain yourself. Explain.
Well, you want me to explain to you about
this? Is the best argument you have. This is the best argument you have. So explain yourself.
Oh, well, I have better even with it. Kurt Gödel's incompleteness theorem says that within any mathematical equation, there are aspects of that equation that cannot be proven, but yet are true. Kurt Gödel is considered one of the greatest minds in mathematics, similar to Aristotle. The fact that you don't know who he is says a lot about your secular worldview.
What does this have to do with the Christian God?
What this has to do with the Christian God is that when you say, you can't prove God. Well,
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Within the realm of mathematics, there is if that's your basis of knowing something, then you don't know anything. So think about this,
Greg. I didn't say that.
Think about this simple.
I just asked you a simple question. I asked you for your best argument. You said mathematics.
Yes, I'm giving it to you.
How does mathematics prove the Christian God?
If you do not know everything, you cannot claim to know.
How does mathematics prove the Christian God?
Listen, bro. You turn your mind on. You're so inept.
How does mathematics prove the Christian God? You're not listening to anything
I'm saying. That's when you say, "Well, you were talking about the Bible when I never did." You have to listen to the words.
You said the Ten Commandments. That's the Bible.
Listen to the words I'm saying. Get off of your blocked mind and listen.
How does mathematics prove the Christian God?
Think about this. If you cannot know everything,
how does mathematics prove the Christian
God? Listen, God, fucking please listen. Are you capable of listening? Jesus Christ.
You said your best argument was mathematics. Listening? You said your best.
Are you able to listen?
Yes, I'm listening. How does mathematics prove Christian God?
How does mathematics prove Christian God? Perfect. Okay. Are you familiar with the 1966 MIT symposium?
How does mathematics prove the Christian God?
I'm telling you the answer.
You just asking questions.
With the 1966 MIT symposium.
So, in order to give proof, asking questions is not evidence. Asking questions is not evidence.
Are you familiar with 1966 symposium run by MIT?
Asking questions is not evidence.
Dude, listen, God, you can't. You just steamroll.
Asking questions is not
evidence. Have you heard
about
it or not?
Asking questions is not evidence. So
have you heard about it or not?
How does mathematics prove the Christian God?
Have you heard about it?
So the last time I checked, in order to give evidence or in order to give proof, you don't have to ask questions.
You don't know what I'm talking about yet. I'm asking you if you've heard about it. Have you heard about it?
Thanks for the paper crane.
Have you heard about it?
How does mathematics prove the Christian God? Is this the best argument you have?
I'm telling you.
How does mathematics prove the Christian God?
Are you listening?
Yes, I'm listening.
1966 MIT symposium called Mathematical Challenges to Neo-Darwinism.
How does that prove the Christian God?
Mathematics.
Yeah, how?
How? It tells you that based on evolutionary biology and the process of the process of how do I explain this to a layman? The process of
this is the best argument
evolutionary biology, where we say that amino acids, which are the foundation of all of our DNA, creating all of biological life. We would say that 4 billion years of biological life on this planet, right, through random mutation, creating new functional proteins.
Thank you, Hanji.
The human body has 20 amino acids that create all of our DNA. Okay?
What does this have to do with the Christian God?
You're switching back. What does it have to do with Christian God? What does it have to do with mathematics? What does it have to do with Christian God? What does it have to do with mathematics? I'm giving you the mathematics.
Greg, listen. I asked you.
You're not listening at all.
So, sir,
I'm giving you the mathematics, and you keep saying, "What does this have to do about the Christian God?"
Yeah. What is what you're saying?
You're familiar with mathematics, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'm telling you, there's a mathematical problem with Darwinian evolution.
What does that have to do with the Christian God?
But then when I explain it to you, You say, well, what does that do about God?
What does that have to do with the Christian God? How does that prove the Christian God?
Do you believe in math?
Do I believe in it?
Yes.
Like, is it real?
Yes.
Yeah, math is a concept
perfect.
in our human brains. Yeah.
And if mathematically Darwinian evolution doesn't make sense, what does that tell you?
I don't know. What does it tell me?
It tells you that evolution is not our origin.
How does, just because evolution isn't true, how does that prove the Christian God?
Because what other option is there?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the other 4,000 gods that are out there.
No. Okay, so if it's not, so if it isn't a god, gods or whatever, or evolution.
I've been very specific with you. I've been very specific.
What do we have left besides gods or evolution? What else is left?
Sir, I've been very specific with you.
How
does mathematics prove the Christian God?
Question.
How does mathematics prove the Christian God? You said that was your best argument.
Dude, this guy, I'm like talking to a brick wall. I just told you.
How do you know that comes from the Christian God?
How do I know what comes from the Christian God? Math?
You said that this proves that evolution has problems, right? It proves that evolution is not true?
Yes.
How does that prove the Christian? How does that prove the Christian God is true?
Because if not evolution, then that has to be a God. So
yeah,
you're either
how do you know it's the Christian God, though?
Perfect. So are you now admitting that it can't be evolution because mathematical problems? It has to be a God, whatever God that is.
I'm saying if what you're saying is true, that evolution has problems, that evolution's wrong, and that it must be God, how do you know that the Christian God is true? I've been asking you this over and over and over.
In order for me to go to that premise, I have to get you to say, okay, taking that, if mathematics cannot
just
prove
tell
a
me
deity,
how, because listen.
Therefore, it has to be a deity that created everything, whether that's Christian or Hindu or whatever.
You said that you know the Christian God is true, and I asked you how do you know this.
Right.
Hold on, I wasn't done speaking. I asked you, how do you know this? Give me your best argument, and you said mathematics. And then you went into explaining how mathematics can point out that evolution has a problem.
Yes.
How do you know that all of that proves the Christian God is true?
By the results.
How do you know
that the results of following Christianity versus following any other religion?
Can you draw the connection there between evolution being...
Look at the world. Look at the world of the countries that follow Christianity. Let's look at the United States, which is a majority Christian nation. The majority of people that live in America are Christian.
So that doesn't prove anything.
What has America produced? America is the most diverse, the most charitable, the most benevolent, the country that every single person wants to go to.
It doesn't matter how many people believe in something. It doesn't make it true. You know that, right? That's fallacious.
It doesn't matter how many people believe in something. I'm not talking about believing in Christ. I'm talking about coming to America. America being a Christian nation.
How do you know the Christian God is true?
I just told you, by the results.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
By the results.
What results?
The result of what following Christianity gives you.
That's circular.
It's not circular.
Yes, you're saying Christianity.
How do you know that Christianity is true?
Christianity is true because of the results of Christianity. You're saying the Christian God is true.
America is the result of following Christianity.
You're saying the Christian God is true because of the results of Christianity. That's circular.
Yes.
That's circular.
That's not circular.
Is this the best argument you have? Circular?
That's not circular at all. I don't think you know what circular means if you think that's circular.
You just said
that's not what circular means.
You just said
saying things.
You just said, well, yeah. Oh, you're the one who's just saying things.
No, you're saying circular. How is that circular? That's linear.
Because you said that the Christian God is true because of the results of Christianity.
Yes.
That's circular. That's circular as fuck.
That's not circular. That would be like me saying, circular would be like me saying the Christian God is true. Well, how do you know that? Because it's true. Because he's true.
That's what that's essentially what you're doing.
Circular would be if I circled back to the same premise.
That is exactly what you're doing.
A non-circular thing would be me saying, well, how is the Christian God true? Oh, because of the results that come about from following the practices.
That is circular to say that Christianity is true.
Oh, how is God true? Oh, because it's true. That's circular.
If I were to tell you,
circular works.
If I were to tell you that evolution is true because of the results of evolution, would that be circular?
That evolution is true because of the results of evolution.
Yeah, would that be circular?
Evolution is true because of the results of evolution. Well, you have to prove evolution first.
Will that be circular?
No, you have to prove evolution first.
Okay, well, you just said that Christianity is true because of the results.
The whole premise in evolution is the process.
You just said that Christianity is true because of the results of Christianity.
Yes.
So now you would have to prove
the tenets of Christianity.
Now you would have to prove Christianity.
Because in evolution, there's no other. If you were saying evolution is true, there's no other alternative to following evolution.
Okay, prove Christianity then.
You can't say, well, did they follow evolution or did they follow something else?
Listen, Greg, listen.
There's no control group to brass it against.
Just listen, please.
Unlike mine, where Christianity does have other things you can follow to examine the results comparatively.
So just listen for about 20 seconds, please. I asked you, if I said that evolution is true because of the results of evolution, is that circular? You said no, you would have to prove evolution. You said that Christianity is true because of the results of Christianity. So now I'm telling you, prove Christianity.
Right, because in Christianity, you have other people that follow other religions. So you have what's called a control to compare things against.
Prove
when you're
Christianity
saying
is true.
Evolution is true. You have to have a control to compare it against.
Prove Christianity is true, sir.
In your example, there is no control.
So, prove Christianity is true.
I like how you just fly right past that.
I'm just doing what you did to me.
I like when you just fly right past the logic and go,
Greg,
nope,
I'm
not going to accept any of that.
I'm doing what you did to me. Because when I said, like, I used your argument. You said Christianity is true because of the results of Christianity. I said, that's circular. And you go, no,
that's
it's not.
How is that circular?
Okay. I said,
how is that circular exactly?
Greg, I said, that's circular. And you said, no, it's not. And I said, okay.
It's not circular.
And I said, if I were to tell you that evolution is true because of the results of evolution, would that be circular? You said, well, you have to prove evolution first. So
that's because there is no control.
So when you say that Christianity is true because of the results of Christianity, well, then guess what? You have to prove Christianity first.
You haven't listened to anything I've said. The reason why what you're saying with the evolution, the result of evolution cannot be used is because there is no control as there is with Christianity.
So how do you know that Christianity is true?
Does that make sense first?
Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense?
How do you know that Christianity is true?
No. Before we move on, I need to know if you
I'm about to move on.
Sense.
I'm about to move on.
No,
So
but I need you to acknowledge
what
it.
What is your best argument for Christianity?
Jumping back and stepping on this rake.
Sir,
does that make sense to you that a control is needed to judge something against?
What is your best argument?
You understand that?
What is your best argument that Christianity is true?
Can you just acknowledge it and just
don't
have any integrity? Can you just say, I understand that principle? I understand that a control is needed in order for me to judge something against something.
I know that's how tests work.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Go ahead.
Okay, now, how do you know that Christianity is true? And don't say because of the results of Christianity.
Well, that's the only way you do follow it.
Okay, that's circular.
From the results.
That's circular. So you're just running in circles and you're wasting my time. You're literally just running in circles and wasting my time. Christianity is true because of the results of Christianity. That's a circle.
Oh.
That's a circle. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Your question, my name's Derek.
Hey, nice to meet you, Derek.
What's your name?
Skits.
What's your name?
Skits.
Skits, that's your name?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not a Bible thumper by any means. I do believe in Jesus Christ and I believe in God.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
Well, what I'd like to say is the proof of God, the Christian God, that I can give to you through my testimony of my life is if you go back in all of history, if God did not exist and was not true, then there would not be so many in opposition trying to disprove God's existence all the way back in history. And that's the proof that I have. You're proof. I am proof.
There's a
And
lot of
everything
people.
on the planet on is proof.
So there's a lot of people that try to disprove Islam. Does that make Islam true?
You're probably a lot more versed on all of the topics that you're going to bring up than I am.
I just asked you a question. There's a lot of people that try to prove that Islam isn't true. Does that make Islam true?
Islam. Explain that.
You said that you know that the Christian God is true because there's a lot of people trying to disprove it, right?
Oh, you're talking about the Islam religion.
Your argument that Christianity is true is because there's a lot of people trying to disprove it. So that makes
no, you're not. There's plenty of different names for God or a higher power, as people say.
Derek.
The proof that don't interrupt. That's what you did.
How do you know the Christian God is? How do you know Christianity is true?
That's what you did to the last guest. I sat here and listened to you interrupt time after time. Please don't do that to me.
How do you know that Christianity is true?
If God, the creator of all that is, did not exist, going all the way back in history, as far as you can go, there would not be so many in opposition to prove non-existence. And that is the proof.
There
would not be so many all the way back in history. Nobody would have wanted to kill Jesus. There would be no purpose for that.
Okay. There's a lot of people that are trying to.
Also, based on my testimony of my life,
wait,
your
can I respond
life,
to that point?
and everybody else's life, not yet. You cannot. No, you cannot.
There's a lot of people that try to disprove Islam. Does that make Islam true? Click the little microphone button, Derek, and unmute yourself. I really hate to do this. I don't do this very often. I don't mute people very often, but I mean, come on. Come on, sir. Click the little microphone button and unmute yourself. So here's what happened, guys. He said that Christianity is true because so many people are trying to disprove it. Well, by that own logic, Islam is true, right? Because there's so many people trying to disprove Islam. So therefore, Islam's true. So that's what I was trying to point out to him. But he was an angry Christian. An angry Christian. Guys, I'm only accepting opposition, guys. I'm only accepting opposition. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you doing?
So the people that are trying to should just look up Titus 3:9 in the Bible. It just asks not to argue and debate over silly things such as this.
Are you a believer?
Yeah, but you have to look up the word believer or faith. What is the definition of faith?
Are you a Christian?
Yes, sir. But
Would you like to talk about? Would you like to talk about any of these topics here?
Sure. But what is the definition of faith?
Believing in something with no evidence.
There you go. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Would you like to talk about anything on the topic back here in the background?
So God supports slavery. God is not merciful, and the Bible is silly. So just like I said, Titus 3:9, it asks not to discuss such silliness.
So you don't want to discuss anything?
Any Christian that comes on here to debate this isn't a follower of Christ, period.
So you don't want to talk to me? Is that what you're saying? Because
I just need the Christians to understand not to do debates over this.
So do you want to talk to me about why God is not merciful, why God allows slavery, why your religion is a red flag?
Religion is a red flag.
Christianity is a red flag, yeah.
I don't think so, sir.
I can prove it to you.
The word faith.
Do you think that every command from God is good and righteous?
No, I think sometimes even Christians, and if they don't admit this, they're fooling themselves. At times, the Bible seems so contradictory and so volatile.
Do you think
and evil at times? Trust me, the first sin originated in heaven, not with Adam and Eve.
Ma'am, do you think every command from God is good and righteous?
The 10 Commandments?
Every command that God gives in the Bible.
The 10 Commandments, yes.
Every command that God gives in the Bible. Do you think every command from God is good and righteous?
Well, I would be silly in saying that I knew every command that was ever in the Bible.
Is God capable of giving evil commands?
Well, evil would have to be to the ethnic people, right? So some people in Africa think
maybe I worded that wrong.
Clitoris is off is perfectly fine.
Maybe I worded that wrong. Okay. Is God capable of giving unrighteous commands, bad and unrighteous commands?
Well, I don't want to be blaspheming.
Can God give bad and unrighteous commands?
Well, in my human opinion, I cannot fully understand God.
Like if you think
capacity to understand that man or the being or whatever it may is, like I don't know. So could I understand the mind of God? Absolutely not.
Do you agree with everything that God does?
No.
So why do you disagree with your God?
I disagree because I don't have an understanding.
So you're better than your God?
No, because I'm a mere mortal. So therefore, why would I understand such a higher power?
You disagree with your God morally, like when God allows slavery, or when God drowned babies, when God commanded little virgin girls to be captured. You disagree with all of those things, right? Because you have better morality than God.
No, I'm a human.
Yeah, so you're better than God, and you're more real than God too.
Well, that's what innately makes me human. God is not human. Well, people say he came down to be Jesus so he could get an understanding of a human.
Why do you
did he understand a human? I think absolutely not.
Why would you want to have a relationship with and love a God that commands little virgin girls to be captured?
Okay, here's my opinion. I have nothing to lose in believing.
This is called Occam's razor. You know what Occam's razor is?
No.
You're saying that if you believe in the Christian God, Pascal's wager. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. Pascal's wager. You're saying that because you believe in the Christian God, when you die, if God's not real, then nothing happens. But if God is real, then you get to go to heaven, right?
Correct. So if I was wrong, then I would have much to lose.
But that's not true, man, because there's like 4,000 other gods out there. How do you know that?
This is your objective, right? This is where you differ, but we're okay to have difference of opinions. That's what makes a great debate.
But what I'm saying is,
we both take something away from it.
You didn't listen to what I said.
I absolutely did.
I asked you why would you want to have a relationship with and love a God that commands little virgin girls to be captured? And you said, because I have nothing to lose by believing in this God. But if it turns out that this God is not true, and that the Muslims' God is true, or that the Hindus' God is true, you're in the same position as me. You're going to go to hell.
I will not ever judge another person's religion. This is my religion.
What? Can you respond to what I just said?
No. And Ishmael
can you respond to what I just said, please?
The Muslims and the Christians will both be blessed in numbers.
Ma'am, can you respond to what I just said?
The Bible says for itself not to judge, yet ye be judged.
Can you stop preaching and respond to what I just said?
I just answered you, but you want to have blockers on it.
No, respond to what I just told you.
You just said if there's another God and I am wrong, that I have everything to lose?
You're in the same position as me, yes.
Correct. So, but I'm not going to throw somebody else under the bus. Let me finish. So you say, right, that I am wrong and we both might have everything to lose, right? And you will stand on your ground and I will stand on my ground, correct?
Yeah, but
okay,
I'm
so that's it. So there's no sense in trying to decimate and wipe out or prove something, because everybody has a God or they don't have a God, and that's perfectly fine.
Right, but why do you want a relationship?
If somebody wants to be Muslim, if they want to be Christian, if they want to be Shia, whoever they want to be. My religion says that I need to not judge and to love them.
Why do you want a relationship with and love a God that commands little virgin girls to be captured?
Because I believe he loved me.
So you're totally okay with this God commanding that little virgin girls be captured?
I tried to tell you that I have no understanding of a divine being such as God.
Do you have children?
Yeah, I have two, 21 and 16.
Are you a follower of Christ?
Yes.
Do you hate your children?
Are we talking about Jesus or are we talking about Old Testament?
I just asked you if you're a follower of Christ, and you said yes, and I'm asking you.
So Christ would be Jesus.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so did Jesus say that?
Yeah, in Luke 14:26, Jesus says you must hate your children in order to follow
what's the
him.
more of the context behind that? It just says that plain outright. And I've heard you say this repeatedly, but it seems like you're getting caught up on like one specific thing instead of the Bible as a whole.
Well, Jesus says that whoever comes to me and does not hate their parents, their partner, their children, you will not be worthy of following me. So,
do you see your comment section? Like,
are you gonna engage in a conversation with me, or are you gonna read the comments? Yeah,
absolutely. But you're getting caught up on one simple
because you can read the comments in the comments, or you could be on with me and talk with me and have a discussion. So pay attention. Do you hate your children? If not, you are not worthy of following Christ. You can't be a follower of Jesus if you don't hate your children.
Well, then I guess I'll be judged, right?
So why would you want a relationship with and to love a man who tells you to hate your children and come follow me and drink my blood?
So I answered that question previously, because if I believe in my religion, then I have nothing to lose. If I live my life
we've gone
Christ,
over this.
I have nothing to lose.
We just went over this. Your religion could be false. There's 4,000 other gods out there.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to shit on other people's religion.
I'm not asking you to. I'm not asking you to.
I don't. Everybody has the right to believe.
When did I ever ask you to shit on somebody else's religion? I never asked you to do that. I'm just telling you that you're saying that I believe in the Christian God because that way if I die, I have nothing to lose. Well, that's not true.
And that's it.
That's not true, though.
But that, for me, that's my truth. For you, it's not.
Ma'am, we are in the same boat. Like, I believe in 0 gods. You believe in 1 out of 3,999 gods, right? How do we know that out of those 4,000 gods that the Christian God is not true?
You're reinstating somebody else's statement, actually. But for me, I speak for myself. Okay. Not for you, not for others, but for myself, I believe this.
Why do you want a relationship with and love a God that commands you to hate your children and commands that little virgin girls be captured? Why do you want a relationship with that God?
You want to speak on something else other than that one?
Sure. Why do you want a relationship with a God that allows slavery? Why do you want a relationship with a God that drowned the world and drowned babies? Why do you want a relationship with God that ordered Saul's army to go and unalive the Amalekite babies in 1 Samuel 15:3? Why would you want a relationship with a God that does all those awful, terrible things?
Why do you entertain only negative parts of the Bible?
Why
do you have anything positive to say about it? Any verse?
The negative outweighs the good. The negative outweighs the positive.
The negative outweighs the positive. In your what? In your
it doesn't matter how many good things.
In your opinion.
It doesn't matter how many good things the Christian God does.
In your opinion, those things matter. But in my opinion, they don't.
It doesn't matter how many good things the Christian God does. He's pro-pedophilia. He's pro-genocide. He's pro-infanticide. He's pro-slavery.
You only point out negative insertion in the Bible.
Those are some pretty big negatives, ma'am. Those are some pretty big negatives.
Who's going to debate that?
So you're just going to look past you're going to look past the pedophilia. You're going to look past the genocide. You're going to look past the infanticide. You're going to look past all of those things for what?
Faith.
Faith in what?
Faith. You literally just pointed out what the definition of faith was.
Faith in the Christian God. But why would you want to believe in a God that does all these awful, terrible things?
I have no understanding of him.
What? So you can't come to your own conclusion?
In Job, in the end
so
of
you're telling
Job,
me,
it states, who are you?
You're telling me that you can't come to your own... You can't come to your own conclusion on whether it's good or wrong to capture young virgin girls?
Well, I cannot get caught up in tit for tat.
You can't come to your own conclusion on whether it's good or wrong to allow slavery?
I already answered those. I said I have no understanding of everything that he does.
You can't come to your own conclusion. You can't come to your own conclusion.
Do I believe that God should have wiped out the whole entire earth with a flood? Absolutely not. It infuriates me. Do I think it would be fair that
why do you get down on your knees?
A war in heaven erupted and then sin cast upon men? Do I think it's fair? Absolutely not.
Why do you get down on your knees and bow down and worship a God that drowns babies?
I definitely don't get down on my knees, but I do pray.
Why do you bow down and worship a God that drowns babies?
You're only saying negative things.
Can you answer the question?
I answered plenty of times. I have no understanding
So
of the
you
things
can't
that he
so you
does.
don't know if it's good or wrong to drown babies.
Me as a human, yes, but I don't speak for God.
So
God doesn't need defending.
So again, I already asked you this. Is everything that God does good? God is all good, right?
Me as a human, no.
God's not all good?
No.
God is evil.
In my human opinion, no.
God is evil.
God could be anything.
You worship an evil God.
I just told you that I have no understanding
Satan.
of all the horrific things that have happened.
You worship Satan. You know that?
Horrific, beautiful, wonderful, everything under the sun. I have no understanding of
Did you know that?
everything
Did you know that you
man-
worship Satan? You worship Satan actually?
Why would I worship Satan?
Because who would do all those things? God or Satan?
Who would do him? God or Satan?
Yeah. Would God drown babies or would Satan? Would God allow slavery or would Satan? Would God command virgin girls be captured or would Satan do that?
I think both, probably.
So who do you worship?
God.
Even though he does the same things that Satan does.
Like I said, I have no full understanding.
Oh my God, I cannot comprehend the mindset. Is it good or wrong? Is slavery good or wrong?
We keep going around in the circle. I have already said, and me being a human, no.
Is slavery good or wrong? It's wrong, right?
Correct.
Is drowning babies good or wrong?
Bad.
Is commanding that you capture young virgin girls and force them into marriage, is that good or wrong?
These are all negative things that you keep
Is it good or wrong?
spewing. I mean, it seems like you just can't get past
Is it good or
a
wrong?
certain thing. Like you're just going around and around
Is it good or wrong?
just to solidify to you that God is bad.
Is it good or wrong? Is it good or wrong to command that virgin girls be captured and forced into marriage?
You've already stated these.
Is it good or wrong, ma'am?
Human. What human would say that those were good?
So it's wrong. Okay. Is it good or
No,
wrong?
but have you ever had anybody on here that said that those were good?
Okay. Listen, here's
No,
what
I
you're
have
doing.
a question. You answered. You
Yes,
asked me,
yes,
like, 6
absolutely. Go
questions.
watch my videos. Go watch my videos. There's like hundreds of you people.
Anybody that says that is
Okay.
off their rocker.
Listen, here's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to ask you. This is what is going to happen. I'm asking you: is slavery good or wrong? It's wrong. Is drowning babies good or wrong? It's wrong. Is chopping babies' heads off with swords, is it good or wrong? It's wrong. Is commanding that little virgin girls be captured as spoils of war, is that good or wrong? It's wrong. God does all these things, right? Yes. God's wrong for doing all those things, right? Yes. Do you worship God? Yes. Even though God's wrong when he allows slavery. God's wrong when he commands little virgin girls to be captured. God's wrong when he drowns babies. God's wrong when he commands that they have their heads chopped off in 1 Samuel 15:3. God's wrong when he flooded the earth, right? Do you worship this God? Yes. Make that make sense.
If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, so I can't talk with you. I mean, I just can't. You have no reason why you even believe in this God. You just do it because you're scared of hell. Even though you don't know if the Christian God's hell is true. It could be some other hell.
Hello?
Oh, sorry. I thought you weren't connecting there. Guys, keep spamming the likes, everybody. Click the follow button, share the live. Guys, if you want to watch the full live streams, please subscribe to my YouTube. The link is in the bio. It'll take you straight to my YouTube. I have all of my full live streams on my YouTube. Please go subscribe, everybody. I'm almost at 300 subscribers, which I'm really, really happy about that. So yeah, if you guys like the live streams, please go subscribe to my YouTube. And I have all my full live streams on there. Thanks for the gifts, everybody. Thank you so much for the gifts, guys. Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Yeah, so I had a couple questions for you.
Okay.
First of all, and I am a Christian. I was raised Christian. I went away from the Lord for a few years, and recently I've come back to the Lord. And
So what are your questions?
So, why are you trying to disprove something that you don't believe in?
I'm not trying to disprove Christianity.
And why are you then? What is the point of your whole debate? What is it?
To talk about Christianity.
Okay, but you don't believe in it, right?
I don't believe in Christian. I don't believe the Christian. I don't believe the Christian. I don't believe that Christianity is true. No.
And why do you not?
Because I'm not convinced that Christianity is true.
So you could be convinced.
Sure.
Okay. So, do you believe in anything?
I believe in facts.
Okay, so science, facts.
Stuff that can be tested, verified, falsified, repeated. Things that.
Right, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. You're fine.
So, do you believe in history as far as like history books and what you were taught in school?
Yeah, but nothing supernatural.
Okay, so the Bible is a history book, isn't it?
No, it has talking donkeys, talking snakes, zombies, walking on water. That's not history.
Okay. All right, I can respect that. I think that's all I have for you.
Would you like to talk about any of these topics up here?
1 second, let me read them. So as far as God supports slavery, do you have verses for that?
Yeah, in Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, God gives instructions to the Israelites on how to practice slavery and how to own foreigners as property for life. You can own them forever. You can pass them on to your children after you die. You can make slaves of them. And also, you're allowed to beat your slave with no punishment as long as the slave does not die from the beating.
Okay.
It's Exodus 21, 20 to 21. I can read them both to you if you want.
Yeah, if you have time to, if you want to.
Yeah, so Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, about your men and women slaves, you may get men and women slaves from nations around you. Also, you may get children as slaves if they come from the families of the foreigners living in your land. These child slaves will belong to you. You may even pass these slaves onto your children after you die so that they will belong to them. They will be your slaves forever. You may make slaves of these foreigners, but you must not be a cruel master over your own brothers, the Israelites. And then in Exodus 21, 20 through 21, anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property.
Okay. So you do study the Bible?
No, I'm not like a biblical scholar. I just know the verses that I know them.
But you do...
I've read the whole Bible twice in the past, 15 years. I don't memorize the entire thing. I don't claim to understand the entire thing. I don't claim to know the entire thing, but I've read it.
Right. And when you read it, and this is not anything against you, I haven't read the whole Bible, but when you read it, were you open to the Lord talking to you, and were you open to him possibly being real?
The first time, yeah.
And then
once I got to where God was like, he was sorry that he made us, so he drowned us. Yeah. I was like, what? He's all knowing. Why is he sorry that we are acting the way that he knew we were going to act? And then he drowned babies. And then very shortly afterwards, I got to where he supports slavery. And then I got to the part where he commands little babies be unalive, the Amalekite babies. And
right.
then he commands little virgin girls be captured as spoils of war and forced into marriage. After that, I was like, even if this God was real, even if you were to prove that the Christian God is real, I would acknowledge his existence, but I would not want anything to do with that God. That God, to me, is not worthy of worship. I hold my standard of what a God would be much higher than the Christian God.
Yeah, and I mean, I respect that. To be honest, I haven't read the whole Old Testament, so I don't even know, I don't even recognize some of the things you're saying.
Do you love God?
I try to, yes. Like I said,
Are you thankful? Like, are you thankful for God? You love God. You thank Him every day. You feel blessed. He blesses you. He made you. He takes care of you. Do you have like a strong emotional bond with this God?
Like I said, I am trying to, and I believe when I pray to God and when I open my heart to God and I do my best to do my part, yes, I believe God blesses my life, and I see Him in my life more and more every day when I'm accepting Him.
Wouldn't you want to know more about who this God really is before you open your heart up to Him?
Yes, I would. Yep.
So before you open up your heart to God, before you give yourself to God, before you do all these things, maybe you should read this divine book from the clouds, right? It's the Word of God. This book is God speaking to you, telling you what He wants from you, what He wants to do, what He wants to give you. Before you do any of those things for God, read the entire Bible. You could read it in like 2 weeks. You could read it, depending on how busy your life is, you could read it in 2-3 weeks maybe. It's not actually a long book. So if this God is so important to you, if it's so important, then actually take the time and read the entire book. And I don't know if you know this, but this is how you read a book. You open up the cover, you read page 1, and you read all the way to the last page. That's how you read a book. Don't read here, don't read there, don't read some of this, some of that. Go to the back, go to the beginning. Read it from front to back, all the way through. That's how you read books.
Right. Yep. I agree with you, and I will do that.
Okay. I'm glad. I think everyone should read it, especially Christians.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming up here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep, thank you. Bye. Okay, everyone, keep spamming those likes, guys. Click the follow button, share the live. Everyone, please go subscribe to my YouTube if you want to watch the full live streams. All of my live streams are on my YouTube. I got like 6 guest requests, and TikTok doesn't put you guys in order, so I'm just clicking randomly here. I don't know who has been here the longest, so I'm just picking randomly. Don't get mad at me if you don't get picked. God has a reason. And thanks for the gifts, guys. I'm sorry if I didn't acknowledge any gifts. I'm just in the middle of a conversation. It's kind of hard to pay attention. But I really, truly appreciate all the gifts, guys.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So I am a Christian. I've just been listening to the previous people, and I've heard you have some verses about like apparently bad things going on in the Bible, and I'm just trying to note these down so I can look back to them myself.
Okay.
So you have one about hate in Luke 14:26, and I believe a lot of these things are supposed to be in context. I don't know of all the examples that you have been given, but I know, for example, in Luke, he's basically talking about that like people aren't going to always agree with you following Christ, because obviously Jesus wants you to give your life to Him. So following Him and not following worldly desires is going to make other people not like you. I don't think He really necessarily wants you to hate your family members.
That's what He says, though. That's what Jesus says.
He uses the word hate, but He also speaks in parable a lot of the time to get most of His points across.
So in John 13, when Jesus says, love one another, is that a parable or is that literal?
Sometimes it's liberal. Sometimes it is literal.
How convenient. When Jesus says to love one another, that's literal. But in Luke 14:26, when Jesus says to hate your children, all of a sudden that's a parable. How convenient.
Because you have to kind of read it in context. I'm not no biblical scholar, but
so here's I'll give you the context. Okay, it starts with, this is the cost of being a disciple. Okay. Correct. And then he says, anyone who comes to me and does not hate their parents, hate their partner, hate their children, and actually, in fact, hate yourself, you are not worthy of being a follower of me. That's the cost of being a disciple. The cost of being a follower of Jesus is you must hate your entire family. And in Matthew 15, Jesus says, don't think I've come to bring peace. I've come to bring a sword. I will turn a father against his son, a mother against her daughter. I'll turn your entire household against each other. This
because
is like,
people will
this is
turn
cult.
against each other.
This is cultish. This is very cultish. He's telling you to hate your children, come follow me, and come drink my blood. This is a cult. This is a blood cult.
What chapter did you just say that was in John?
When he says to love one another,
Yeah.
John 13.
Okay.
I think it's John 13, like 34, I think.
Okay, because I'm just coming here because I'm trying to learn from people who have your perspective and your worldview, because I'm just trying to, obviously come closer to the truth myself. So when we talk about the truth of the Bible, the reason I believe in Christianity is because I believe the resurrection actually took place. And he did resurrect. And that's the only reason I believe, because if you can disprove the resurrection, then the whole Bible is technically false then.
Why is it just the resurrection that needs to be proven wrong to prove the entire Bible? Why not all the other supernatural claims?
Because the only person who could resurrect from the dead would be God.
But there's multiple people. Jesus isn't the only person that resurrects in the Bible.
He's the only person that was died. Then who else resurrected if who was dead?
After Jesus died and gave up his last breath, the fucking mountains trembled, the temple shook, and multiple people rose from their graves and walked through the holy city like zombies. Lazarus rose from the dead.
Does that mean they just went to heaven, then they were alive in heaven?
No. It says the graves opened up and holy people got up out of their graves and walked through the holy city, and many people saw them.
Do you know what verses these were?
Oh, it's in Matthew. But yeah, I'll look it up for you. But Jesus is not the only person that resurrects in the Bible. So that's why I was asking you, like, why would the resurrection be the thing that needs to be disproved to disprove the entire Bible? Why is that the only supernatural claim that needs to be disproved? It's Matthew 27:53.
So I believe in context, he's talking about those people went to heaven that obviously saw Jesus in heaven.
Let's read it, because I think somebody said it in the comments. I think it is Matthew 27:53.
I'm looking it up too.
So, starting at verse 50, again, Jesus cried out loudly and then died. When Jesus died, the curtain in the temple was torn into two pieces. The tear started at the top and tore all the way to the bottom. Also, the earth shook and rocks were broken. Verse 52, the graves opened and many of God's people who had died were raised from death. They came out of the graves, and after Jesus was raised from death, they went into the holy city and many people saw them.
Well, the holy city would be referring to heaven.
No, that'd be, I think it's Jerusalem, I think. I believe. I could be wrong, but it doesn't say they're going to heaven. It says they go to the holy city, and that many people saw them. And Lazarus rose from the dead. So why is the resurrection the only supernatural claim that has to be disproven to disprove the Bible?
You're actually the first I've ever heard that other people resurrected in the flesh and were back alive in the flesh.
Well, Jesus resurrected in the flesh. Jesus resurrected in the flesh. He came back from the dead and walked around, and people saw him. Right?
That's why people believed he was God, because who else could resurrect you from the dead?
My point is, you're saying that the only supernatural claim that has to be disproven is the resurrection. And you said because Jesus is the only one that resurrected. That's not true. There are multiple people that came back from the dead in the Bible. So why is the resurrection the only supernatural claim that has to be disproven in order to disprove the entire Bible? Why not all the other supernatural claims, like talking donkeys, talking snakes, walking on water?
Old Testament?
Supernatural claims in general.
Because only God could do those.
But why is the resurrection the only supernatural claim that has to be disproven to disprove the entire Bible?
Because Jesus is claiming to be God. He's claiming to be the Son of God. And if he cannot come back from the dead,
well, that's not what you said the first time. I asked you why is the resurrection the only supernatural claim that has to be disproven, and you said because Jesus is the only one that resurrected. And now you're saying it's because Jesus claimed to be God.
Because if a man claims to be God, many people don't believe him initially, but when they see him resurrect, then they're like, okay, this guy must be God if he's able to die. We witness him die, then 3 days later rise from the dead.
So do you still hold the position that the resurrection is the only supernatural claim that needs to be disproven in order to disprove the entire Bible?
I mean, if you can disprove that, then the whole Bible would be disproven, because the whole point of his resurrection is to defeat sin.
Well,
he says,
I would argue,
"Believe in me, you will come to heaven."
I would argue that the burden of proof is on you to prove that it happened in the first place.
The eyewitnesses, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yeah, there are no eyewitnesses. You have one book claiming that there were 500 eyewitnesses, and all of the Gospels
is a collection of writings from many different people put together.
Yeah, all of the Gospels are anonymous, and they were written decades after.
No, they're not. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's not anonymous.
No, those aren't the authors.
Who told you that?
Biblical scholars will argue that nobody knows who wrote the actual Gospels. They're attributed to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but they are not the definitive authors. They're anonymous. We don't know who wrote them, and we know that they were written decades after the supposed resurrection.
Well, because we have to understand, back in that time frame, it wasn't as easy to write down notes as it is today. Because obviously ink, however they got paper in the first century, is a lot more expensive and a lot more costly and takes a lot more time.
So what you're saying is that it's unreliable. This is actually in favor of my argument.
But this is eyewitness accounts, so it would be
we don't know that. Who are the eyewitnesses? Who are they?
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter.
No, the Bible claims that there were 500 people that saw this.
Yes, 500 over the course of 40 days.
Yeah, and those are claims. That's a book. That is a dusty old 3,000 or 2,000-year-old book claiming that there were 500 eyewitnesses. This is not evidence.
People wrote down what they saw. And these people were martyred.
Do people lie?
Claiming that Jesus died. And these people were martyred and killed for claiming they have seen Jesus.
People were killed for David Koresh. People were killed for Charles Manson. People were killed for Jim Jones. People were killed for Marshall Applewhite.
People wouldn't lie for something that they know is untrue, is my point.
People don't lie, you're saying?
Why would people lie as if they know they're going to die if they continue to say it? Like Roman soldiers were telling them.
Because they were convinced of something that wasn't true, or they were mistaken.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if you saw someone resurrect, you wouldn't be mistaken. People wouldn't believe you if they personally didn't see it. But if you were death,
but we don't actually know
to see it.
We don't actually know that any of this happened. We just have claims of this happening, right?
Yeah, we have eyewitness accounts, but you can't.
No, you don't have eyewitness accounts. You can't name any of them. You have a book claiming that there were. Thank you for the subscription. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You have a book that claims that there were 500 eyewitnesses, but we don't know that that's actually true. So I'm sorry, sir, that this is not going to be.
Can you prove to me George Washington was the first president of the United States?
Yeah, sure. We have his body, we have his teeth, we have his home, we have documents, we have signed documents, we have portraits, right? And that's not a supernatural claim.
But those are history context. The Bible is,
but that's not a
historical document.
But that's not
any other historical document.
But that's not a supernatural claim. I have no reason to believe that George Washington was not the first president.
Well, same with Genghis Khan or Alexander.
But those aren't supernatural claims, sir. Like, I'll give you that Jesus existed. I'll say, fine, Jesus existed.
Do you believe he resurrected?
No, I don't believe in anything supernatural. There is no evidence to suggest that he rose from the dead and defied all laws of reality.
Well, it's the eyewitness accounts, and that's the whole
We don't have eyewitness accounts. We have a book claiming that there were 500 eyewitness accounts, and the Gospels are anonymous.
Well, taking records 2,000 years ago is not the same as it was 100 years ago. That's the point.
That actually it works in favor of my. That actually works in favor of my argument. They're unreliable.
But when we found the Dead Sea Scrolls and other documents that are dating back,
those are also pieces of paper that make claims, sir. That is not convincing evidence. That is not testable evidence. That's not verifiable evidence.
So only trust things that you can see, touch, or that you can sense with your senses?
Not things that I can just see or smell or touch. Things that can be tested and verified and proven to be false. Things that are testable and falsifiable. Supernatural claims. Yeah, how convenient, right? Conveniently enough, God is not testable. You can't test the supernatural. So that's why I am not convinced that it's real. You don't have eyewitnesses. You have a book that claims there were eyewitnesses.
So what sources can I go to see that? Because I'm actually just trying to learn. I'm not trying to attack you or anything. So where can I go to see that the Bible is still written by anonymous authors? We don't know who it is, and to prove that there are no eyewitness accounts. Where can I go to look this up?
You could just literally type in like the best biblical scholars that there are out there. I'm not the best at arguing this. I'm actually there's probably people out there who are far more convincing at arguing this, but like
I'm not that
Bart
convinced.
Ehrman, for one, is a biblical scholar. Dan McClellan is a biblical scholar. There are, just look up like the top biblical scholars, and they all agree, like the mainstream biblical scholars will agree that the Gospels are anonymous. They were written decades after the supposed resurrection, that the people who actually wrote the Gospels never saw Jesus, never met Jesus, and certainly never saw him rise from the dead. And don't take my word for that. I'm telling you, Kyle, don't take my word. Go look that up. Go do the research. You know, I'm not telling you to just
Because like
blindly-
then I've also heard biblical scholars say what I'm trying to say is my point. It's like there's biblical scholars on your side, then there's
Yeah, I don't
some
think
on
that.
my side.
I would argue that those are fringe biblical scholars and not like.
But I could say the same thing about yours.
No, because Bart Ehrman is not a fringe biblical scholar. Dan McClellan, they're not. They are mainstream, well-respected biblical
Okay,
scholars.
I didn't know these people. Who are these people again? Are you able to tell them? I'm just taking.
Bart Ehrman. There are people there's somebody in the comments who wrote it. Bart Ehrman, Dan McClellan. They all have YouTube channels. They all have, books. They all have videos you can go and look up and watch them speak. They all have debates. You can go watch debates, and they can lay out the arguments for you. Don't take my word for it. Don't just blindly believe what I'm telling you. Do what you're doing. Do what you are doing, what you should be doing. Write it down and go find out for yourself.
So I'm just trying to learn and hear things from different people's perspectives.
W learning.
I'll be learning 100%. But
Yeah. I
kinda
got a lot. I got a lot to learn too, man.
yeah, well, that's really all I got. Thank you for having me on, and maybe I'll
Yeah.
come back in the future once I'm more educated on these topics.
Yeah, and I also need to educate myself as well on some of these topics, because I don't have some of the answers that you were asking me. So there's stuff that I need to learn too.
All right, well, thank you.
I don't necessarily get deep into disproving the Bible. That's not really my thing. I get into like, why do you believe this God? Why that he does all these awful, terrible things in the God? That's
Because I believe God, or I believe Jesus, because he claimed to be God, and then obviously with him resurrecting is why I believe him. But that's why I was trying to say, like, if you can disprove the resurrection, you disprove Christianity, because
But
only
see,
God could resurrect. But that's why I'm trying to understand the other parts about other people so-called resurrecting, because I want to understand the context it was written in. I want to understand, like, was it metaphorical? Was something straight up like a quote? You know what I mean?
and I'm still confused as to why the resurrection is the only supernatural claim that needs to be disproved.
Because
and
the whole New Testament
also, I would
is
argue,
about trusting Jesus. So that's short term.
and anyone that you bring that argument to is going to tell you the burden of proof's on you. You're the one making the claim that Jesus resurrected. It's on you to prove it. It's not for me. It's not for me to disprove the claim of the resurrection. So just so you know, I don't know if you know that. But
It's not directly proof. It's more so-called basically evidence with eyewitness accounts. Him reporting that his tomb is empty. And obviously, him performing.
But there are
miracles,
better
like
explanations.
Turning water into wine.
There are better explanations for the tomb being empty than a man rising from the dead. It's more likely that somebody stole the body. It's more likely that his followers, his disciples, I'll give you, Jesus was a real guy that went around and said the things he said and gathered a following. It's more likely, in reality, that somebody stole his body, than opposed to him rising from the dead and defying all laws of reality.
Because the only person who could define laws of reality would be God.
Right.
So
but
then,
you'd
you'd
have to
about eyewitness accounts.
you'd have to prove that he was God, though. That's the whole thing.
Well, I mean, the resurrection would prove that he was God, and then when
I know, but see, that's you're saying that he resurrected. You're saying it'd be possible for him to resurrect because he's God. Well, how do you know he's God? Because he resurrected. Well, that's a circle. You're going in a circle there.
Well, how else could a man prove that he is God besides defeating death and performing miracles?
That's on you to prove. That's your job as the believer, as the one making the claim.
Would you believe someone would be God if they resurrected from the dead and claimed to be God?
I mean, that'd be pretty hard to deny. Yeah.
But that's basically what he was claiming. He was claiming to be God.
Yeah, but we don't know that.
Miracles.
We don't know that it actually happened. We don't know that people actually saw it happen.
I mean,
but
doesn't the Bible
and I'll say
have
this:
accounts for it,
even
like
if,
eyewitness accounts.
but sir, we've been over this. These are all just claims, and every
You're just the first
every.
person I've ever heard making these claims that don't believe the Bible, which is why it's just new to me.
No, I'm not. I didn't come up with these arguments. These are not my arguments. These are not my talking points. I didn't come up with this. This is just from me learning and watching discussions on the topic. These aren't my original arguments. These aren't my original talking points. I'm not making this up. I'm not the one. I'm not the first person to say we don't know who the authors were. I'm not the first person to say we don't know who the eyewitnesses are. This is general. This is just very general talking points, general arguments against the validity of the Bible. So,
Okay, you're definitely giving me lots to think about, more to research. I'm still a believer, but I just need, I gotta listen to some more people and do my own research. But I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming up here, and thanks for watching. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, have a good one.
You too. Thanks. All right, everybody, double tap that screen, guys. Click the follow button, share the live. If you've enjoyed this live stream, somebody subscribed earlier. Thank you so much for the subscription. Excuse me. Got the hiccups. If you've enjoyed this live stream, please go to my YouTube. The link is in the bio, and subscribe to my YouTube if you want to watch the full live stream. Also, I have a ton of my other live streams on there. If you're interested in listening to something while you drive, while you're working, while you're cleaning, whatever, if you guys are looking for something new to listen to or to watch, please go subscribe to my YouTube, guys. I really appreciate it. Let me take another guest here. I probably have enough time for maybe one or two more guests, guys. Let's see.
What's up?
Hey, what's up?
I'll wait till you come back.
What's going on?
I'm not going to act like I'm the most knowledgeable, but I don't think he was very knowledgeable at all, which he admitted. So I mean, it was.
Yeah, and I'm not either. That's not even really my thing. Like disproving the Bible or disproving any. Like, I'm not really here to disprove your God or disprove your Bible. I'm here to talk about.
Literally though, it literally says Christianity. I mean, it seems like it.
No, none of these are statements saying that God isn't real or that your Bible is not real.
Do you believe in God?
No, I'm not convinced that God exists. No. But you do believe in God. But that's why I liked talking to people who believe in God about these topics.
Well, Christians aren't the only ones who believe in God.
Yeah, but I'm here talking to Christians.
Okay, so do you want to talk? Because we can do both. I mean, either one. Do you want to talk about like proving the existence of God or Christianity?
I mean, I honestly, I'm not really here to disprove your God.
Well,
so I don't make the positive claim that your God does not exist. I'm just not convinced that your God exists or that any gods exist.
Okay,
right?
So let's keep it with. We'll do the God thing first. I mean, maybe you don't have enough time, but we can go God.
Sure.
Do you believe the universe had a beginning?
We don't know. Science doesn't currently know.
Okay, we don't. Well, I mean, that's iffy. We don't know with 100% certainty, but there's evidence you could point to that points to a beginning.
Like what?
Entropy.
How does
the universe is like overworking itself, which means it's running down, and eventually going to get to a point of like heat depth, basically. So, if a universe is running down, if anything is running down, it had a beginning. You don't run down and come to an end and not have a beginning.
I would argue that how does any of this get you closer to knowing that the Christian God is true? Okay,
so I guess now we're presupposing that God exists, and now we're coming to how do we know that the Christian God is true?
Yeah, like whatever argument you're going to give me, how do you know that proves the Christian God?
Okay, so there's a possibility that Islam is true, Buddhist. Like, I'm not one of the people that says, "Oh no, 100% certainty Christian." No, I'm a Christian by the way, but it's definitely possible that other religions are true, but it's about following where the evidence leads. It's not just about, I was raised Buddhist, I'm a Buddhist, this is true. No, it's about following where the evidence leads. Jesus is literally the most known historical person to ever live. So we can just start there. That right there in itself is already kind of like putting.
I'll grant that Jesus existed just for the fun of it.
I got you. I was here a little earlier. So that in itself, and then a follower is simply a Christian is simply a follower of Jesus. And back to the other guy's point, how he was like, if you disprove you can disprove Christianity if you can disprove the resurrection. It literally says that in the Bible. It says that your faith is in vain if the dead.
Why is that the only supernatural claim that needs to be disproven?
So as far as disproving Christianity, because Christianity is literally founded on the death of Jesus. If that didn't happen, then our faith is in vain. Paul literally says that.
Okay.
So he literally told us, if this didn't happen, y'all faith is in vain and we're all like meaningless. Like it doesn't matter anymore because you disproved the foundation of our religion.
Why would Paul say that?
Well, he was trying to essentially get across to them that like this is the importance of the Christian, like this event was so important that like if it didn't happen, like I say, your faith is in vain. I have to do more research on that, but that's essentially why he said it. Like just
why wouldn't Jesus say that?
I don't know.
Like why? Why do we care about what Paul says? He's just a guy. Like he's not.
Paul, yeah. So
like, wouldn't it have more credence? I would give more credence.
All Paul is doing is telling people what Jesus preached.
But Jesus never preached that. Jesus never said, "Hey, when I'm going." Like Jesus said, "I'm going to die and I'm going to resurrect." Right? But
yeah.
Jesus could have said, "Hey, and if you guys can prove that I didn't come back to life, then that disproves me being God." Like I would give more credence to that if Jesus actually said that himself, but I don't think he does anywhere.
Well, why
do we care about what Paul says?
People simply became followers of Jesus, i.e. Christian, because that happened. People were literally atheists. I forgot which apostle was, my bad, but like it was people who did not. Oh, okay, so Thomas was a person that did not believe. It literally says that once he touched Jesus, the nails in his hands and stuff like that, then he believed. That now that you have believed, go ahead.
No disrespect, but how do we know that any of this is actually true? Because the Bible says it. It's not
Cool.
verifiable. It's not.
Yeah. So again, that's a fair point. You can prove these events happen. Like, so for one, the Bible isn't just some random book. It's documents that are recorded about events that happen. But let's just presuppose, let's not use the Bible, right? There's historians who write about these events as well. Like,
I'm not convinced of the supernatural events.
Okay.
Like I'll grant you the actual historical things that may or may be true in the Bible, but I'm not convinced of anything supernatural, and not just the Bible. I don't believe in anything supernatural, tooth fairy, wizards, magic, dragons.
Okay, so like
because it defies the laws of reality.
But that's what makes it a miracle, though. Like
but there's no way to test that. There's no way to verify miracles. There's no way to test there's no way to demonstrate that it was a miracle.
But that's exactly what makes it a miracle, though. If it happened all the time,
that's how convenient. That's convenient, right?
Well, you probably wouldn't think a woman could have a baby if you didn't know women had babies, and then you see if you actually try to fathom that concept, exactly.
That's just a biological process.
But imagine if you never seen that before, and you said a human can come out of that woman. You probably would think that's ridiculous.
I don't understand what you're saying.
But I'm saying though, because it happens so frequently, it's not even looked at as a miracle. If you actually pick apart that whole concept, it actually is a miracle.
No, we have scientific and biological explanations for human birth. It's nothing miraculous about it. It's just biology.
It's just biology.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It's incredible.
I'm saying think from the mindset that you don't know that can happen.
I can't because I know it happens. I can't do that. It's impossible for me to just think a certain way. Like we know that humans give birth. It's just it's not. Is it amazing? Is it beautiful? Is it awesome? Yeah, but is it like a miracle? Does it divide? Is it supernatural?
It's not a miracle because it happens all the time, though.
Biology.
Saying if you pick it apart, you'll realize it actually is a miracle. But
biology is not supernatural. Human birth is not supernatural.
Interesting.
It's, in fact, natural. Yeah. But see, like, I'm not even really here to like get into the whole like disproving your God or disproving the Bible. That's really not what I'm even trying to do here on this particular live stream.
Okay, so I was gonna, because we can go by that. So okay, then which one I want to go with? I guess, why is the Bible silly?
Because of the supernatural things in it.
Okay, so it's just more so personal incredulity.
That's really just something I just put at the bottom. Is like, to me, the Bible is silly. Like a virgin getting pregnant by a ghost, right? Or like zombies rising from the dead, walking on water, those things, talking donkeys. That's just silly to me.
It's silly
that there are very smart, very smart, intelligent, full-blown adults that genuinely believe these things.
Yeah, but the only reason you don't believe them is because you haven't experienced it. So
because I'm not convinced of it, right?
No, and you haven't experienced it, because you're saying that I haven't.
You haven't experienced those things either.
No, I'm saying you're saying that because I haven't experienced it, therefore it can't be true.
No, you're saying that the only reason I don't believe it is because I haven't experienced it. You haven't experienced those things either. So why do you believe it?
It's faith. If the resurrection is true,
and faith is silly. Faith is silly to me. Faith is absolutely useless.
Really?
Yes, because your faith is equal to all other people's faith. Like, if you're going to say God is real because you have faith, well, guess what?
No, that's not how we get to God.
Well, yeah, okay. Maybe that's not what you're. That's a stretch. Fine, but your faith in God is no more better than someone else's faith that God isn't real, or someone else's faith that the Hindu gods are real.
Why is it not?
Because how do we determine who's right?
By the evidence, where the evidence leads. That's why I said following.
No. If you had evidence, you wouldn't need faith. Faith is believing in something without evidence. So you wouldn't need faith if you had evidence. That's why faith is silly to me. You having faith in God is just as invalid as faith in Allah, faith in the Hindu gods, or someone who has faith that God isn't real, or someone who has faith that dragons are real. The same person who has faith that dragons are real, his faith is just as equal and just as valid as your faith.
No, you're looking at evidence as like something being proved. Evidence is not proof.
But we're not talking about evidence. We're talking about faith. Those things.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though our faith is based on the evidence. Like
no.
You can't know it 100%.
No, sir. You wouldn't need faith if you had evidence.
That's what I'm saying. Though you're looking at faith as something that's proved.
You don't need faith for things that can be proven with evidence.
No,
you don't need faith.
Evidence is something that you can come to a conclusion that something is true based on evidence, but it doesn't prove that it actually happened.
That's not faith. There's no faith. There's no faith there. Faith is literally believing in something without any justifiable, with no evidence, no justification.
Let me say this then. Do you know what circumstantial evidence is? That people use in law.
Yeah, for instance, somebody gets stabbed, and there's a guy who just happens to be standing next to the knife.
Exactly.
Think
about stuff like that. It doesn't prove that it happened, so there's no 100% certainty, but you can come to a logical conclusion that it happened based on the evidence you do have. It doesn't prove.
No, that would not be logical. That would not be logical to.
Okay, forget that I said that. Just you can come to you have evidence, right? The evidence doesn't prove anything. It just provides evidence.
Not the circumstantial evidence. Evidence does prove things, but not circumstantial evidence.
Then I guess we disagree on what we're talking about.
How can circumstantial evidence prove? How can the circumstance?
Evidence. So I'm saying that circumstantial evidence doesn't prove anything. It only provides evidence.
No, circumstantial evidence is.
That's why they can use it in court. Is because it's evidence.
Yeah, but it's going to be dismissed. Circumstantial evidence will always be dismissed.
It won't always be dismissed. It's literally something that they use in court.
No, it's not solid evidence.
It's not.
It's something that defense attorneys or prosecutors will use. But you can't use it's circumstantial, and very often judges will rule that out and say no, that is circumstantial. The jury is not allowed to take that into their consideration.
Mm-hmm.
It would not be logical or fair to sentence a man for a crime just for simply standing next to the knife that was used in the crime. His fingerprints aren't on it. He was just standing next to it, circumstantial, right?
Yeah.
Or a person that happened to be in the area of a crime and matching the description of the suspect. The suspect has a red shirt. This man has a red shirt. He's in the area. That is all circumstantial.
Yeah, but you will not get
a conviction. You will not get a conviction on that.
But either way, so you said, how do we get to the Christian God? Like I say, it's the evidence following where the evidence points. So, for example,
so are you saying
it's historically proven that Jesus existed? That's evidence right there about Christianity. But no, it's not the only.
There's nothing super. But you don't have evidence of anything supernatural. You have faith of the supernatural. You don't have evidence that Like, you don't know that a virgin was impregnated by a ghost. You believe that a virgin was impregnated by a ghost. You have faith.
I agree.
You don't know it. You just have faith.
I agree.
Because that's a supernatural claim.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you don't know with 100% certainty. That's literally why.
Right. So
like,
your faith is equal. Your faith is just as equal as the person who has faith that dragons exist. Because we don't know dragons. We don't know it. That's why I think faith is useless. Faith is silly.
I mean, you could say that, but either way, you say, how do we get to the Christian God or whatever? Like, it's following where the evidence leads. Even forget faith. It's just about following where the evidence leads. So, like, even the Bible has archaeological evidence.
But none of this proves to supernatural proof.
Well, the thing is, that's where the faith comes in. Is that if it has all of this thing, like the archaeological evidence,
faith is not evidence.
Jesus existed, etc. And all of these things prove the Bible reliable, then that's when you say, okay, maybe the resurrection did happen. It's not just about,
there's no way to verify it. There's no way to test it or verify it or to falsify it. You just have to have faith, right?
Yeah.
There's no way to prove it.
Well, it doesn't. That's
why faith is silly to me.
I mean, it can be silly to you, but it's not like, I mean, that's just
to me. It's obviously it's very important to you. It's something you have
faith in everyday life, though.
No, of course I don't have faith.
You have faith that your car is going to continue.
No. I have confidence based off of
that's
repeated.
Exactly what faith is.
No, sir. Listen.
Synonym.
I have confidence based on repeated. What's what I'm looking for? Like almost every time I go to start my car, it starts up. So that's repeatable, it's testable, it's verifiable. I have confidence that when I go out to start my car, it's going to start based on the evidence that it almost always starts. I don't have faith that my car is going to start. I have confidence because I've seen it happen over and over and over again.
Faith doesn't mean confidence, if not, pull it up on the screen. There's no way you don't think that
maybe confidence is the wrong word, but I don't have faith that my car is going to start.
You literally do. Faith is literally a trust.
Faith is something without evidence. I have evidence that my car is going to start.
I have evidence Jesus existed.
Sir, that's not a supernatural claim.
It is. I'm saying though.
You need faith.
You're following where the evidence leads.
No, sir. You need faith for the supernatural claims. You don't have evidence for the supernatural claims.
Well,
you need faith.
The eyewitnesses.
But again, like I'm sure you heard what I was talking to the last guest about. We don't.
Yeah, and you were wrong about the people that wrote so you said that they were anonymous. Why does that matter? Assuming they were anonymous, why does that matter?
He was saying that the Gospels were written by Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, and we don't know that. It's not true. They were like almost every mainstream biblical scholar will tell you that they were anonymous and they were written decades after Jesus's life. No, but none of them, the people who wrote the Gospels, never even met Jesus or saw Jesus. These are all every mainstream biblical scholar will disagree with you.
You can't pull me one
Bart Ehrman and Dan McClellan.
You can't show me one again that said Matthew and John. Mark and Luke didn't meet Jesus. I can agree there. But Matthew and John did meet Jesus, which is also makes the Bible even more reliable because they had people who didn't even meet Jesus. Like, why would they use those people as people to give a gospel for?
Well, even if that's true, this is just a claim. Like, this is just a claim that if Matthew claims that Jesus rose from the dead, that's a claim. There's no way to test that. There's no way to verify it. You literally just have to take his word for it. You have to have faith that it's true.
Yeah, but
there's no evidence.
In history is based on the trustworthiness of eyewitness testimony.
No, there's a difference between things that are happening in history and supernatural claims. Like I've got no reason.
I don't think there's much of a difference there.
What? Like if you were to say, prove that George Washington existed, right? I would say, well, I've got no reason to believe that George Washington didn't exist. But if you were to say George Washington rose from the dead, then I would have no reason to believe that George Washington rose from the dead because that just doesn't happen in reality.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, the reason why you're not it's not connecting with the Bible is because you look at the Bible, which is understandable because a lot of people do. You don't look at it as documents that are writing about events they saw. You look at it just like as some random.
But those are claims. Those are just claims. Like if Matthew,
they're just claims. They were either
like if Matthew
telling the truth. I agree.
If Matthew claims that he saw Jesus, I've got no reason to believe that that's not true. But when Matthew makes a supernatural claim that he saw Jesus rise from the dead, I have no reason to believe that is true. You're conflating like historical events with supernatural events, and I think that's that could be a fallacy. Actually,
that's mostly based on the fact that okay, I haven't experienced it, therefore it's not true, and personal incredulity. Those are not arguments.
Wait, no, listen. I'm telling you that if Matthew claims that he saw Jesus, okay, fine. I could very easily, excuse me, I have the hiccups. I could very easily believe that. But when Matthew makes supernatural claims, I'm not convinced that those claims are true.
Yeah, that's because of personal incredulity. You're saying that it's hard for me to believe, therefore it's not true.
No. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not making the positive claim that it's not true.
Okay, I got you.
I'm saying I'm not convinced that it's true.
Not convinced.
Right.
What evidence do you... So this is where this gets very interesting. What evidence would you need to be convinced?
I don't know. Like, I would... whenever time I get asked this question, I say, it's your God. I can't tell you what your evidence that would be of your God. I can't tell you that. I don't know.
So that's the thing, though. If you're saying
all I know is that I have not yet.
Okay, what does the evidence look like then?
Something that you could test and verify and falsify. Something that you could be repeatedly tested and verified and falsified. But at the same time, I don't know what the evidence of your God would be because I'm not convinced your God is real. All I know is that I have yet to be given an argument or given any type of evidence that would convince me, and I just can't choose to believe. Like, you don't choose what you believe. You're either convinced or you're not convinced. And I have yet to be convinced. I'm not being stubborn. I'm not being closed-minded. You can't just magically flick a switch and then all of a sudden start to believe in supernatural things. You have to be convinced of those things. Are you there?
Yeah, I got you. But I mean, it just sounds like personal incredulity. But like I say, it's just following where the evidence leads, bro. The archaeological evidence, the historical proof.
There is no archaeological or historical proof of supernatural claims.
Well, no, that's not what I'm talking about when I say archaeological evidence, though.
Yeah, I have a problem. I don't have any problem with anything in the Bible except for the supernatural claims. That's the only thing I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not convinced that it's true.
Interesting. So, if Christianity were true, would you become a Christian?
No. If you were to prove to me that the Christian God was real, I would acknowledge his existence, but I would want nothing to do with that God.
Why?
To me, the Christian God is not worthy of worship.
Why?
Because he's pro-genocide, pro-infanticide, pro-slavery, pro-pedophilia, all of those things.
Okay, so let's say this.
Honestly, I would never worship anything. I can't get into that mentality of worshiping something. My idea of what a God would be wouldn't even care about being worshipped, wouldn't want to be worshipped.
You don't think so?
And I hold my standard of what a God would be much higher than the Christian God.
So you think you have more? You think you have? It's funny. So you think the God is immoral?
I am morally superior to the Christian God.
Where are you getting your standard of morality from?
From my empathy and my the realization of the consequences to my actions.
Okay, so is how you think of morality what is the best suited for humanity?
It's
like
subjective.
Everybody.
It's all subjective. It's all subjective. It's my, like, there are my opinions on what are right or wrong, and there are your opinions on what's right or wrong. Like, exactly. I would think we would probably both agree that grape is wrong, right? We both agree with that.
If there's no God, then it's not wrong.
Of course it's wrong. Like,
why?
Sir, okay, all right, fine.
Why,
okay,
why is it wrong?
In a world where God exists, is grape wrong?
Yeah.
In a world where there is no God, is grape wrong?
No.
How? How can grape ever be okay?
Just like you just said.
How can graping ever be okay, sir?
No, I'm saying, based on like literally what you just said, you just proved the point without even knowing it. You said that it's my opinion versus yours. If my opinion is that it's good and we should all do it, then what makes your opinion?
No. I'm not saying that my opinions or my morality is like what we should do. These are just my opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
And
but if there's no
we
God,
can't,
then there's no standard.
like we both agree that graping is wrong, but you can't prove to me that it's objectively
I
always
can
wrong.
justify why I think it's wrong. You can't, because
No, you can't.
It's your opinion.
In fact, I can get you to agree that grape is not always wrong.
Okay, how?
Because your God commands it in the Bible.
Where?
In Numbers 31:17-18. God commands soldiers to capture young virgin girls and force them into marriage.
That's not grape though.
Really? You're capturing a young virgin girl and you're forcing her to be your wife. She's a captive.
That's not grape, but I see what you're getting at though.
What? So is it consensual?
I would have to read it, but it sounds like not.
When you capture someone, it's not consensual, so it's non-consensual.
But it's not great. But either way, like
if it's not,
you can't use God.
Sir, come on. And listen, and what's crazy? See, this is why it says I have the thing. Christianity is a red flag, because here you are saying that, and actually you have to say this is a good thing. Because
I didn't say it was a good thing. I said that if you're trying, you
do think it's a good thing, because you have objective morality from the Christian God, and whatever God does is objectively good. So when God commands soldiers to capture young virgin girls, that is a good and righteous command.
Well, it depends
in your worldview. In your worldview,
I guess I would have to read that verse. But either way, if there is no God, then what they were doing wasn't wrong. It was just their.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
It was just their opinion versus yours. Who's right?
So you think they were right? In a
non-God, read that verse though.
In a non-God world, were they right to do that?
Personally, I would still say that they're wrong.
Exactly.
But I'm saying though,
exactly, because it's your subjective opinion that it's wrong, and I agree with you. It is my subjective opinion that it's wrong.
Yeah, but what about the people who disagree with both of us?
So it can be wrong. There doesn't have to be a right or wrong. They think they're right, but I think I'm wrong. They think that they're right, and I think that they are wrong.
And who's right is my question.
There is no objective.
Exactly. So if there's no objective, then it's all subjective, and it's just my opinion.
But you just conceded.
Nobody's right or wrong.
You just conceded that in a non-God world, when they captured those young virgin girls, that was wrong to you.
Yeah, to me. But I'm saying the people who disagree with me,
and that's my position too.
I know that, but I'm saying the people who disagree with me and you, how are they?
That doesn't make them right. Just because they disagree doesn't make them right. And just because we disagree doesn't make us right.
Nobody's right. That's my point.
Yeah, there is no objective right or wrong. It doesn't exist.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I said that.
You're not listening. You're not listening. There is no objective right or wrong. It does not exist.
I agree.
So you don't have objective morality from God.
Yeah, we do.
Sir, you're not listening to me. There is no objective morality. It does not exist.
It does exist. We know it intuitively.
No, it doesn't.
Why doesn't it exist?
Intuitively would just be your opinion. That's subjective. Intuition is subjective.
No, so what I was making my stance for first was that if there is no God, then there is no right or wrong, because there's no one outside of humanity to make the standard, right? But
in your worldview, that was a good thing. When God commanded the Israelite soldiers to capture young virgin girls and force them into marriage, that was a good and righteous thing.
Let me read this. So can you pull this verse in?
That's the problem. That is why. Thank you, Breezy. Thank you so much, Breezy. That is why I say Christianity is a red flag, because here you are saying that it's a good and righteous thing for young virgin girls to be captured.
Oh, can you pull it up on the screen? I'm not very familiar with the verse.
No, I can't do
context.
I can't do that, but I can read it too here.
Okay, go ahead and read it.
I'll start at, just to give you some context, I'll start at 15. He asked them, "Why did you let the women live?" They were the ones who followed Balaam's advice. They turned the Israelites from the Lord at Peor. Then terrible sickness struck the Lord's people. Verse 17, "Unalive all the Midianite boys, unalive all the Midianite women who have had physical relations, but save the young girls for yourselves who are virgins."
Yeah, I mean, you said force them into marriage and all this other stuff. I didn't hear that in there.
They're captured. They're captives. They're being captured and they're taking them as brides, as spoils of war. Save them for yourselves. You will take them and make them your brides.
It didn't say that, though. That's what you said.
No, actually, they were captives, and even some of them were sacrificed to God. Like 32 of them were sacrificed to God.
Where does it say that?
If you keep reading, all you men who unalived anyone or touched a dead body must stay outside the camp for 7 days. On the third and seventh day, you and your captives must make yourself clean. The only ones that are alive are the young virgin girls. So they're the only ones. They're the captives. Okay, because the Midianite boys have been unalived, the Midianite women have been unalived, but save for yourself the young virgin girls save for yourself the young virgin girls. And it says, on the third and seventh day, you and your captives must make yourselves clean. And then when you get down to verse 20. And when you get down to dividing the goods, verse 35, there were 32,000 virgin women. These were the women who were virgins. The soldiers who went to war got 70. The soldiers who went to war got 375,000 sheep, 675 of the sheep to the Lord, and they gave 72 of the young virgin girls to the Lord. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Verse 40. They got 16,000 virgins, and they gave 32 of them to the Lord. So these are captives. These are young virgin girls who were being captured, taken as captives for these Israelite men, forced into marriage. None of this is consensual. They did not consent to this. They're being captured, and even 32 of them are sacrificed to God because apparently God wants some of those young virgin girls.
He's like, what does death mean to you? Where do you think people go?
I don't think they go anywhere. I think when you die, that's it.
Well,
but hold on. This is all good and righteous in your worldview, right?
For one, there's definitely context. You were reading that out of context, number one. And then
Give me the context. Hold on.
I'm not a Bible scholar personally.
Wait. You just made the claim that I'm missing context. So give me the context.
No, I'm saying, like, I've heard that before. Frank Turek used it. He said he literally missed it all the time. I personally just don't know. I'm not a Bible scholar.
Wait. How do you know that I'm missing context if you don't know what the context is?
Because you literally said things that were not in there. You said they were taking them captive and raping them and all this other stuff, or raping them.
Sir, it says they are captives.
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay, let me read it to you again, okay? Let me read it to you again. 17, it starts at 17. Unalive the Midianite boys. Unalive all the Midianite women who have had physical relations. But save the young girls for yourselves who are virgins. So can we agree that the only ones who are alive at this point are the young virgin girls?
Yes, we can agree that.
Verse 19. All you men.
That's where you said it said capture them. It said save them for yourself. I mean,
hold on. I'm about to show you where they call them captives.
Okay.
So 17 says, unalive all the Midianite boys, unalive all the Midianite women who have had physical relations. Verse 18, but save the young girls for yourselves who are virgins. Verse 19, all you men who unalived anyone or touched a dead body must stay outside the camp for 7 days. On the third and seventh days, you and your captives must make yourself clean. And we both agree that the only people who are alive at this point are the young virgin girls, because the Midianite boys have been unalived, the Midianite women have been unalived, but the young virgin girls have been kept, and they are captives. You on the third and seventh days, you and your captives must make yourself clean. And then when you go down to verse 25, starting with dividing the goods, this is where it talks about dividing the spoils of war, right? There were 16,000 virgins, and of the 16,000, they gave 32 of them to the Lord.
I mean,
and in your worldview,
it means that they were just dying.
And you made the claim that I'm missing context, but you don't know what the context is. So how do you know I'm missing context?
Because I've heard that before. I'm just not a Bible scholar.
But sir, how do you know?
You're not saying anything new. I can promise you that.
How do you know I'm missing context if you don't know what the context is?
I'm not able to articulate what I've heard.
So then why are you saying I'm missing context then?
Because I've heard the parts you're missing.
So what are the parts I'm missing?
I don't know, bro. I don't know it off the top of my head.
What you're saying is you're missing something, but I don't know what you're missing. I don't know what it is that you're missing.
Put it like this.
This is what you're doing. This is what you're doing.
Simply, go ahead.
Josh, this is what you're doing. I don't know what it is that you're missing, but you're fucking missing it. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, because you're reading the Bible completely out of context. Like, it's very easy.
Okay, give me the context. Give me the context.
It's very easy to read a verse and then take it for what it says and then run with it and say, yeah, look what this Bible
So
said.
Give me the context that you claim that I'm missing. How do you know? How do you know I'm missing context if you don't know what the context is? This is what you're doing. You're missing something.
I'm saying you're probably
I don't know what it is that you're missing.
I'm saying you're probably reading it out of context.
Okay, so now you're saying I'm probably taking out of context. Okay, I'll accept that. But if you're going to make the claim that you know that I'm taking something out of context, but you don't know what the context is, I have a problem with that statement. But if now your statement is you're probably taking out of context, then fine, I'll accept that statement.
Yeah, but I mean, so does it make, so if God gives reason for why he does things, is it still immoral?
There is no good reason for drowning babies or chopping babies' heads off with swords in 1 Samuel 15:3. There is no good reason for commanding little virgin girls to be captured. There is no good reason for any of those things. There is no good reason for allowing slavery. There are no justifiable good reasons for those things.
You say slavery, but like,
in your worldview, under the objective God morality, all of those things are morally permissible and good and righteous. And that is why I think Christianity is a red flag. Because, for instance,
because you don't understand the context of those things, like slavery, for example. People willingly went into slavery in that time because they were poor.
Right. So there's indentured servitude, which applies to your fellow Hebrews, right? But there's also chattel slavery. In Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, God tells the Israelites that they are allowed to get foreigners from the foreign nations around them and that they can own them as slaves for life. You can even pass them on to your children, and they will be your inherited property, and you can make slaves of them, and they will be your property forever. That's not indentured servitude. That is not debt servitude. That is owning a human being as property for life.
What verse is that? I'm gonna read it because I've actually read where you can't hold a slave after a certain period of time.
Yeah, that applies to your fellow Israelite. You're like these are the Israelites that God are speaking to. He's telling them, if your fellow Israelite wants to sell himself to you, he must go free on the 7th year, unless you give him a wife, and if the wife has children. When his 7 years are up, he goes free on his own, but the wife and the child stay with the master. If the Hebrew slave wants to keep his family, he has to say, I love my master, and let the master pierce his ear, and then he will be owned forever if he wants to keep his family. Okay, but that's all for your Hebrew slaves. Now, the foreign slaves in Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, God tells the Israelites, about your men and women slaves, you may get men and women slaves from the nations around you. You may also get children as slaves if they come from the families of the foreigners living in your land. These child slaves will belong to you. You may even pass these foreign slaves on to your children after you die, so that they will belong to them. They will be your slaves forever. You may make slaves of these foreigners, but you must not be a cruel master over your own brothers, the Israelites. That's chattel slavery.
What verse is that? I'm going to read it real quick.
Leviticus 25, 44 through 46. I just read it to you. Just so you know, we can't hear or see you.
Oh no, you got that. I'm not an Old Testament scholar, so it would in order for me to be able to actually articulate my points, I would have to do more research. I'm not an Old Testament scholar. Okay. Just to be fair.
Yeah, I mean that's honest. I appreciate the honesty. But yeah, but everything we've just talked about for the past 10, 15 minutes, right? The slavery, the young virgin girls, 1 Samuel 15:3, when God commands the Amalekite babies be unalived, when God flooded the earth and drowned all the babies. All of those are reasons why I would not want nothing to do with the Christian God, even if you were to prove that he is real.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here, man. But I've enjoyed this conversation with you. This has been a really good conversation. I know a lot of people were saying, move on, the next guest. But I actually enjoyed this conversation.
Me too. Yeah, but appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this live stream. I have to get up at 4 in the morning. But if you guys have enjoyed this live stream, please click that follow button, guys. And please, everyone here, please go subscribe to my YouTube. Just click the little YouTube button in my bio. It'll take you straight there. You can subscribe to my YouTube. The full live stream will be posted on there. Thank you for the gifts, guys. If you guys want to go listen to all my full live streams, I've got like 30 of them on there right now. I'm almost at 300 subscribers on YouTube, so I would really appreciate it if you guys go and subscribe to my YouTube. That would mean a lot. And I'm actually proud of hitting almost 300 subscribers because I just started like uploading videos like a month and a half ago. So I'm really sorry if you guys who just got here, but yeah, this is going to be it. I've been live for a little over 2 hours, which is about how long I typically go live. But the last guest, even though we disagreed on things, that was a very fun conversation. I enjoyed that conversation with that person. But thanks, guys. The YouTube stuff is fantastic. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube, guys. Everyone, please go check my YouTube out. The live streams are very entertaining. I promise you. This has been a very chill live stream, but I get some pretty fucking wild guests, and we get some pretty heated discussions. So if you're looking for those like raw, like battle, heated discussions with crazy ass fucking guests, go subscribe to my YouTube, guys. I'm telling you, the videos there are pretty wild. So that's gonna be it, guys. I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say. So I see Hanji. What's up, Hanji?
I did not mean to request. I'm sorry. I was just sending you lovies.
That's all right.
But good live. Good live.
Yeah, that was a good live. Thank you.
Love you, Skits. I'll see you later.
Love you too, Hanji. Bye.
Bye.
So yeah, that's gonna be another live, guys. I guess like I do have like maybe 5 or 10 minutes here, so I guess if you guys have questions, I'll answer some questions here. Everybody that's in the guest request, I'm not taking any more guests, guys. I'm sorry if you've waited for a while, but thank you, Breezy. Breezy! Thank you so much for sending out subscriptions, Breezy. Thank you. W Breezy in the chat, guys. W Breezy. What is your YouTube? It's in my bio. Just click my profile and click the little YouTube button. It'll take you straight to my YouTube. If you have the YouTube app on your phone, click on the link in my bio. It'll take you straight to the YouTube. Thank you for the subs, Breezy. Thank you. Thank you so much, Breezy. W Breezy in the chat, guys. Breezy is awesome. What's the obsession with Bible slavery for atheists? It's not necessarily an obsession. It's just an argument that you can't defeat. You cannot defeat the argument. Bruce, thank you for the $10 on Cash App. Bruce, W Bruce in the chat. Thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you for the $10 on Cash App, Bruce. Thank you so much. You were too kind. Favorite Star Wars prequel? I don't like Star Wars. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Star Wars. Thanks for the gifts. Thank you so much. W Bruce. Bruce, thank you for the Cash App, man. That was awesome. And thank you, Breezy, for all the subscriptions you just sent out. Thank you so much. That's awesome. No, I'm not a Trekkie either. I don't like Star Trek. Oh, I'm tired. What's your favorite kind of cheese? It depends on what I'm eating. Like if I'm eating like a sandwich and just regular cheese, but like if I'm eating like cheeseburger or something, I like pepper jack cheese. Or like Colby Jack. Colby Jack, is that a word? You guys know what Jesus' favorite cheese is? Swiss cheese, because it's holy. Get it? See what I did there? Holy. Yeah, Colby Jack's good. It's full of holes. Yep. W Swiss cheese. I like Swiss cheese. Cheese is good. Predictor or aliens? I've never really heard much about your religious background. I don't have a super strict, like, I don't have an intense religious background. I don't come from a super religious family, but some of my best friends growing up as a kid, and like my first, like growing into my early 20s, we became roommates. A few of my best friends come from super religious households, and they experienced religious trauma. And fortunately, I did not experience any religious trauma. My dad is like, he was pretty big on God back in the day, but I think now he's more like agnostic. But I was never forced to go to church. I was never forced to read the Bible. I was never forced. I never had religion forced on me, so I don't really have a religious background. But I have a ton of respect and a ton of admiration. Is that a word? Admiration for people that deconstruct and leave their religion and leave their faith, because it takes a lot of courage to do that, guys. It takes a lot of bravery, because somebody who's thinking about leaving their religion or leaving their faith, they're risking losing their family, their best friends. They're risking losing everyone that they know, because some people take it to that extreme, right? There's some people out there that if they left the faith, that left the religion, that their parents would disown them, their uncles, their cousins, their grandparents, they would lose their best friends. When you go to church, you meet, church is a really good family environment, right? Everyone at your church is family to you. Imagine taking that step and being so brave and so courageous to be willing to be true to yourself and say, you know what? I'm going to think logically here. I'm going to think critically here. I have no good reason to believe these things. Why do I believe them? Let me deconstruct. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes years. It could take decades for you to finally let the fear of hell go, right? Let the fear go. And you will risk losing the closest people to in your life. So for all you guys who have deconstructed, or for all you guys who have used to be super religious and super Christian and have finally decided, I'm going to be true to myself, I'm not convinced that these things are real, kudos to you guys for having the courage and having the bravery to be true to yourself and not just blindly believe something. I really respect that a lot. Evans, I believed until I was about 55. That was about 15 years ago. Yeah, see, that's his whole entire life. It's crazy. Now, if you're using your faith and you're using God to help you cope with things, I completely understand that, and I completely am okay with that. The thought of no life after death is very scary, right? It could be scary. But I'm telling you, once you come to grips with it, once you come to grips with reality and you realize that all the evidence suggests that this is it, this is the only life we get, it will help you appreciate life way more than you ever will. And you realize that this is it, so life is precious. Every day is precious. A lot of times people think that non-believers don't have any purpose. Non-believers have no purpose. We have all kinds of purpose. Non-believers love every day. They find purpose in everything that they do in their lives, because they are convinced that this is it. This is the only life you get. There is no life after death, as we know, that we know of. So, yeah, life is extremely short, and it's extremely precious. and I don't mean to get like too sappy here, guys. I don't want to get too sappy, but like I battle with depression, right? I have severe depression sometimes. It's in my family. You know, I think everyone does. I think to a degree, everybody battles with some form of depression. Like, even if it's somebody that's on social media that just seems so happy and that their life is perfect, you don't know what's going on inside that person's head. You don't know how they truly feel about themselves. Like me, I have incredible low self-esteem, which also leads to depression. Even though, like, thank you for the crown, Joyful. Thank you so much. Even though, like, I got a great job, a great career, I got a house, I got a nice car, I have my dog Champ, you know, I still feel like bad about myself. I feel like I don't like the way I look, right? And you start getting depressed and you start like feeling like life sucks, right? But what I try to do, and I hope everyone who thinks that their life sucks, like, you ever just like been so upset over like the smallest thing? Like, let's say today, damn it, you fucking had a flat tire and you were so fucking pissed. God damn it, my fucking tire's flat. Fuck my life, right? You ever get like that? Like, oh, why me? It's always me. It's bad luck. What I hope you guys can try to do, which I still work on this too, is just take a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath and say, look, at least I have a car, right? I have a car. You know how many, like, you think, like, it's easier said than done, but like, you think life is so bad, you think life is so terrible, but just try to be grateful for, like, if you have a roof over your head, you got a refrigerator full of food, you can flick a switch and turn electricity on, you can flush your toilet and get rid of your sewage, you can literally get in your car and drive to the store. You are so, like, you're so lucky compared, there's so many people who would literally give everything to trade positions with you. To trade, like, if you think your life sucks, there's people out there who really, really have shitty lives and have like real struggles. I'm not trying to say that your struggles aren't real, like, but when I look at my struggles and I start getting mad and I start getting depressed, I just try my best to just sit down and look around me and say, look at everything I have. Do I really have it that bad? Is my life really that bad? No, I'm young still. Right? Like, I got air in my lungs. Everything's good. Just relax. Try not to flip out over the little things, guys. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Don't let the little things, like, stress you out. Just relax. Be grateful. Right? Be grateful. Thank you. And trust me, I know it's harder said than done. It's harder said than done. I know. I have those days. I have those days where I'm like, fuck my life, man. Just fucking, of course, right? I go to the ATM. The fucking ATM's broke, and I get mad. I got anger issues. I'm trying to work on my anger issues. I get mad. One little tiny little thing like a fucking ATM not working, and I'll just be like, of course, right? That's just my fucking luck, right? But don't get upset over that shit. Just relax, calm down. Be thankful that you have money in the ATM. Be thankful that you have money in the bank that you're going to withdraw from the ATM. Don't be upset that the ATM doesn't work. Right? That happened to me yesterday. I was having a bad day and I went to go to the ATM to get some money out and it was broke. And I drove all the way there and I was like, I was mad. I was so mad. But that's something that I work on. And I hope that if there's anybody here that's been listening to me, if you are in that same mentality that of everything that I've just said, just relax, calm down. Life's not that bad, right? It could always be worse. It could always be worse, right, guys? Life could always be worse. All right, guys, that's it. That's enough of me rambling on here, everyone. I'm sorry for rambling, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Love you all. Not double tap screen. Click the follow button, guys. Click that follow button and go subscribe to my YouTube, guys. Everybody follow each other. Everyone, please follow each other. Everybody follow each other. I love this community. You guys are so amazing. You guys are so good to me. the fact that you guys show up and you actually care about listening to what I have to say, and you care about watching me. And I just want to be entertaining for you guys. I don't want you guys to be bored. I try to be entertaining. I want you guys to be, happy with what you're watching. And thank you for the gifts, guys. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you for supporting me on Cash App. Bruce, you sent me $10 on Cash App. Thank you so much, man. That's so awesome. I don't expect anything, but I appreciate everything. And you guys give me a lot of purpose, right? Because it's hard to find purpose sometimes. You feel like, what do I care? What am I doing this for? But I love coming on here and talking with you guys and having you guys root me on, and the whole community here, like everybody that's in the atheists, religious TikTok community. Like you guys are so awesome. I really appreciate every one of you. So, all right. I always ramble when I'm trying to end my live streams. I don't know how to stop rambling. Thank you, Joyful. W Joyful, W Hanji, W all you people, all my subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thanks, guys. See y'all later. Go subscribe to my YouTube, guys. Subscribe to my YouTube. Go follow my YouTube. Go watch my live streams. Appreciate y'all. Waffle House for life. Yeah, why not? Waffle House.